Toy Chat is not a children's channel. This video is intended for adult gift givers and collectors. Hey guys, welcome to Toy Chat. This is Max.
And Sang.
And this is another episode of Collector's Corner, our podcast where we discuss hot topics in the doll and toy industry centered on some of our favorite brands. And today's conversation is overdue to have. We will be discussing Rainbow High.
Recent changes. And...
you know, the fate of Rainbow High, if you will, and the general trajectory it's heading. We are going to be talking about the quote-unquote soft reboot dolls, the new generation, new collection of dolls heading into 2024. Obviously, there are a lot of changes to be discussed, and we will be talking about what seems to be the primary soft reboot dolls, the Make Slime dolls, as well as the new budget line, Swim in Style, and we will be touching on the new fashion packs and juniors by the end of the conversation as well. So as we mentioned in our Shadow High Series 3 review, it's been very heavily speculated and kind of known for a while that there were big changes coming for the Rainbow High brand. We learned quite some time ago via leaks that there would be new dolls coming that implied a soft reboot, which, by the way, yes, we will be using the term soft reboot throughout this discussion. You know, that's pretty much the term that's being used throughout the community. And obviously, by its definition, we can't really call this a full reboot. You know, it's not, at least, you know, from the looks of it, it's not a full retcon rewrite of, you know, the story and the characters and completely different aesthetics, like nothing like that. Thus far, it doesn't seem like a completely new generation of dolls and characters. It's more, you know, just some significant changes from what came before. Mm-hmm. You know, for quite a while, we didn't really have much to base this on aside from leaks and speculation, and people were saying, you know, of course there was a recent Rainbow High music video that it felt like a retrospective, and people were like, what's going on? Is the brand ending? So episode 14 of season 4 of the Rainbow High animated series aired, and I do have to give a quick disclaimer that Sang and I have not been keeping up with the animated series. We do not have the full context of everything that's been going on with that. I know the Project Rainbow competition ended recently. I'm not clear. I don't know for sure if the events that we're about to discuss are kind of like segueing into season 5 or if it'll still be part of season 4. I'm not clear on that. But there hasn't been a new episode at this time of recording for a few, like 3 weeks now. But a piece of animation that really got a lot of people talking was a YouTube short that Rainbow High uploaded featuring Sunny. And this basically, it seems like an extension of the events of episode 14, because at the end of episode 14, Sunny and Violet find this mysterious crystal that just falls out of a locker at Rainbow High, and they end up deciding essentially that it's an egg that's going to hatch into something, and then at the tail end it hatches into a mysterious creature that, you know,
looks kind of like a teddy bear unicorn.
Yes. And also, as many folks knew through leaks, it looks like Poopsie Slime Surprise. Yeah. MGA's previous brand. Specifically, they look like the Poopsie Cutie Tooties, which there were basically variations of like the little, you know, really stylized, you know, big-eyed creatures that were part of the Poopsie Slime Surprise brand, which we reviewed those a very, very, very long time ago. And of course, you know, if you're really familiar with the origin of Rainbow High was, in a sense, kind of like a loose spin-off of Poopsie Slime Surprise.
How we come full circle.
Yes, if that's what we want to call it. So after that episode ended, they published a short on YouTube that had Sunny with her little unicorn bear pet, who she refers to as Bearsy Wearsy. And she just says that all of a sudden there is this random magical rainbow portal that is behind her, and she's gonna go in it.
You know, when I saw that little portal that's kind of rainbow, I thought they were trying to introduce like the fairy tale spinoff.
Oh, that would have been cooler. Storywood Fairy Tales.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that they were doing that because, like, the bear is kind of like a fantasy creature. So I thought that's where they're heading instead of this soft reboot.
That would have been so much cooler. Yeah, that would have been actually a great way. So we've discussed this previously when we first reviewed Shadow High, is like, we were under the impression that Shadow High was really going to introduce fantasy into the world of Rainbow High. And of course, it didn't so much. And obviously there's certain things that are fantasy leaning and, you know, like sci-fi-ish within the halls of Rainbow High and stuff like that. But this is easily the deepest dive they've taken into fantasy. They're like, okay, there's just portals and magical little flying animals, and so I'm like, it's like, okay, that's just happening. So so Sunny's going into a portal, and of course the implication is that this is basically going to lead us into the reboot, the soft reboot. Yes.
And one of the things that Sunny says was honestly, at the time watching it, maybe it was kind of fun, like ominous kind of thing, like, oh, I don't know if we'll be back, blah, blah, blah. But knowing that where they're heading with the soft reboot, it's more tragic and kind of...
It's going to be interpreted. We're going to circle back to certain things within this clip later, because there's things that tie into this in relation to some theories within the community, and Poppy Rowan seemingly missing from the soft reboot. We'll get to that subject a bit later. Stay tuned. But basically, some time passed, and recently, influencers, including Claudina and Jay Zombiecorn, which, you know, shout out to them. You know, we will be using some photos and footage of their coverage of these new dolls throughout this discussion. They received the new Rainbow High dolls in PR. So specifically what's more or less being referred to as like the Make Slime dolls. Our perception is that these are basically, you know, the primary or the signature, if that's what you want to call it, soft reboot dolls. They will be priced at $24.99, and they include a majority of the core 6 Series 1 Rainbow High characters: Ruby Anderson, Sunny Madison, Jade Hunter, Skylar Bradshaw, Violet Willow, and Amaya Raine. Someone is missing. It does not include Poppy. No. Again, we'll get to that. So these dolls, they are expected to be available in early spring, and they come with a slime making activity. The slime can be placed inside the shoes, pet, or bag, so this is identical. Those features are identical to the Rainbow Surprise dolls that came out years ago. We reviewed those as well. So they're kind of like redoing that concept at Rainbow High scale, basically, which is really interesting. So the boxes are also marked ages 4+ instead of 6+, which that itself I think is very telling that this soft reboot is
marketed for a different crowd.
Yes, they're marketing it for younger children, which makes sense because, as we'll also get into, these dolls have reduced articulation. They're not wearing jewelry or anything like that. So really, there's no especially small pieces. So these are going to be more appropriate for younger children. They have a new tagline, "Shine Brighter Together." And you can definitely tell just like the packaging in general. In many ways, it's classic Rainbow High, but it's very super glittery, so glittery, like you can't even read the text. Like it's more about just an aesthetic pop. They use kind of like a fun bubble font on, you know, the back description, which now it's not focused really on plot or drama or anything like that. It's like, in Rainbow World, your besties customize their fashion and pets with liquid rainbow sparkle slime. Which, speaking of which, so the mention specifically of Rainbow World. So that also, by the way, the boxes, the packaging has a sticker that says "as seen on Rainbow World."
Oh.
So I'm very fascinated by because historically, some stickers we've seen in the past is like "as seen on YouTube" or "as seen on Rainbow High" or whatever, Rainbow High on YouTube.
Yeah.
The fact that it's worded that way specifically, I'm like, is this going to be a title rebrand? Like, are they going to call it Rainbow? I mean, the Rainbow High is still on the package. It's still referred to as Rainbow High dolls, but is Rainbow World, which again, we can only assume this is where Sunny is going. In the portal. She's going to Rainbow World. So these dolls, one nice thing about these dolls, they do so come with stands. They have stands, so they get a lot of points for that. Because we get very upset when they remove the stands.
And you know what? They gave us a brand new comb.
They did. They have
heard exactly what people are wanting. Brand new combs.
A new comb design, yes. I would say the packaging is still pretty. It's definitely, I think, slightly tweaked for younger kids to kind of notice it more. So these are going to pop on the shelf for sure. The artwork looks the same, more or less. So it seems to be like the same artist. So we're going to start talking about the dolls themselves. So again, it's the core 6 minus Poppy.
Amaya.
Amaya, yes. The faces. Let's talk about the faces.
I think the faces are a improvement. I mean, in terms of like screening and stuff, I think they're an improvement over like the very original. But like, I like everything minus the very like thick glitter in their faces.
Yeah, so that's a recurring thing with these Make Slime dolls is they have like an embedded, or I don't know what the application process is exactly. I know it seems to not be removable. I know Claudina showed in a video trying to remove it, wash it off, but it doesn't come off. It's not removable. Okay. And it's very, very different, super different from any of the highlight shimmer we've seen before or anything like that. It's literally like a dotted glitter. And it has like a gold coloration to it. So it totally looks like freckles.
Yeah, it looks more like freckles than like glitter makeup.
Yeah.
I think, I think the glitter's too large.
I think this is going to polarize people, particularly adult collectors. I think kids might really like how this looks because it's like fun and colorful and sparkly, which I can appreciate that too. But it definitely, for one, it makes the dolls less versatile, which is something that, adult collectors tend to want. And also just some of them, seeing them at certain angles, like now that we're kind of seeing some of the PR reviews and content, it looks odd at certain angles. It looks kind of like unintentional splatter, like not quite makeup, not quite actual, skin freckles, which obviously we've gotten, legit like freckles on dolls and stuff like that, which is great. But this glitter, it just has a very distinct effect and aesthetic that I think is going to sort of polarize people.
And you know what? We were just talking about these dolls because it looks like some of the budget lines don't have any glitter on their faces.
Yeah.
So just these ones do. So I wonder if like the signature release will kind of have this aesthetic and we'll still see like the normal faces on the other dolls.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I will say, I totally agree with saying that the screenings on all of these are, honestly, that the faces look just as gorgeous as they always have.
Yeah.
Like the faces are absolutely lovely. I think every doll's face, pretty much in terms of like the makeup and the screening, looks really beautiful. I think this collection, I'm really noticing, it looks like pretty much all of them are wearing what I would almost consider more natural makeup. Like they're wearing some eyeshadow, but it's a lot of like more almost like nude leaning lip tones and stuff like that. There's no really, really bold makeup or contrasting.
I think
like
with these pictures,
makeup.
it kind of gives them kind of like a dewy lip look.
Yeah, well, almost as if some of them might just be wearing like chapstick or a gloss, kind of. Yeah, so it's a little more natural leaning, which again, that falls into, the more slightly child-friendly.
Yeah. I like some of their hairs. Like, if we're comparing them to like the signature release, like the original ones, I do like some of the hairs a little better. I think Violet has a superior hairstyle. I'm very curious what the like production look will be, because these are the picture we've seen looks like they might be like prototypes. These
are like the PR samples essentially. So the retail version will not look exactly the same.
I'm still not a fan of tinsel. So Amaya and Jade might be a pass.
Does Jade have? Oh, she does have tinsel.
Yeah, she has like a tinsel.
Oh, a couple of them. Sunny has tinsel.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But I mean, if it's when it's hidden underneath, it's not that bad. And her hair, like Sunny's hair is kind of curly, so you're not going to be brushing it quite as much. I don't mind that. But like the straight hair girls with tinsel in it, it doesn't really work well.
Yeah. The thing that's really interesting, I noticed this in Jade's review of Skylar, is that the back of the head did say 2019, which implies that it is the same sculpt. So it seems like it's mainly just the screenings making them look different. I know there's like been throughout the Rainbow High community, there's been people saying that like the series 1 sculpts were updated.
Yeah.
I'm very curious if that's actually the case or if it's only the screenings that were updated.
I have no idea.
Because
I'm not good at that.
Yeah, we can't really say for sure, but I'm just curious of that because you have to keep in mind you can totally change how a doll looks with screening. You don't have to change the sculpt.
Just like people.
Yes. So I think a very significant talking point of these dolls is going to be the fact that they have reduced articulation, as many people already know. They can no longer move at the wrist. And another area that I was not even aware until we started seeing PR content of these was that they also removed the twist joint, like the twisting articulation at the upper thigh. So yeah, but beyond that, from what I saw, the articulation is the same. They can still bend at the they can tilt their head and the shoulders and the elbows and knees. It's really interesting that this is not the only MGA brand that we're seeing that happen in currently. LOL Surprise Tweens also had wrist articulation removed, which was controversial among adult collectors as well. Something that I think is going to cause a really big problem with this is changing the clothes, especially seeing there's there's a couple dolls here that have long sleeved jackets. Putting those on and off without being able to remove the hands is going to be kind of awful.
Yeah. But you know what? They only have one outfit, so maybe you should keep them as is.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not super torn up about losing the upper thigh joint, but losing the wrist articulation is kind of a really big deal for me as an adult collector.
Yeah.
So obviously it just makes them a lot less versatile for posing and photography. And like I said, changing clothes is going to suck. So that is a really significant issue for me personally. And unfortunately, absolutely none of the Rainbow High dolls that have leaked for this new generation or soft reboot have wrist articulation.
Yes.
The budget dolls have even less, which we'll get to. Another interesting update on the Make Slime dolls is it looks like, unlike previous dolls, none of them have painted nails. So now we'll kind of talk about how we feel about just like the outfits.
Yeah. So you got kind of two things, well, at least two things to talk about. Some of them have modified signature outfits, which is kind of sad. We're not getting new outfits. And second thing that I noticed is they lost a lot of those high-end fashion inspirations.
Yes. I think one of the worst culprits in terms of like way too similar to the Series 1 release is Ruby.
And Sunny.
Yeah. Ruby and Sunny have what I would say very close to identical, like simplified really, versions of their Series 1 looks, which is really unfortunate. That to me, I think in combination with the removed articulation, and we're not really, with all these removals and reductions, we're not really seeing anything new added. So I'm very curious how many longtime collectors of Rainbow High, young or older, are going to want to collect all of these, because they're kind of structured and presented kind of like a main line or a signature line, but a lot of what they offer with like the reduced articulation and reprinted clothing and stuff, it is giving more budget line. Yeah.
And I think Jade also kind of lost some of her edge. I think her outfit's a bit more simplified. It's no longer kind of has that Billie Eilish look.
Yeah, and also it looks like she's is totally wearing reprints as well. Yeah, the shoes are totally reprints.
Yeah.
The rainbow ones, which by the way, the shoes are they're basically modified in a way where like you can pop the sole off and put slime inside.
Yeah. I think the violet looks amazing.
I know, which is like, it's kind of new for us.
Yes.
Well, Violet has looked pretty before, but Violet is next to never my favorite in a line. Just because a lot of the time, I mean, I love her color scheme and a lot of her style and all that, but she's just so often like the simplest one, and also her we've had issues with her hair, her hair and hair material. But this one, I think she totally pops because for one, she has by far, I think, the most unique outfit. Yeah. Like, this is like nothing of Violet's previous outfits.
And I even, like, I'm not a huge fan of, like, sequins, but the kind of, like, asymmetrical, kind of, like not very dense sequence looks really nice on her. And her hair is gorgeous. Those are the waves you want in Hollywood.
Yes.
Granted, you know, these are PR versions. I'm sure the retail version is going to be hit or miss. I hope I get a good one if I was going to get one,
I do. I mean, I have to say in terms of, like, cool, unique fashion pieces, I want that sequin, like, shirt that Violet has. That's a really nice fashion piece. So I would say overall, my favorites in this line are Violet, and I really like Skylar's look.
I love Skylar.
I
kind of miss her denim look, but I think she does look a little bit more like chic.
She looks really fashionable. Yeah. She looks. I think Violet and Skylar are winning this because they look the most fashionable and the most unique from previous releases. Although, of course, there's redundant things on Skylar, but it's just what she's wearing is really fashionable.
I want that outfit on like a new face doll.
I know, like an IT, I think her little magic top is super cute. I like the translucent jacket. I personally am a fan of like the little asymmetrical, like distressed kind of skirt. I am kind of curious. I don't know. I guess that's paint on it, the metallic kind of, or like assuming that's paint. I have no idea whether or not if that would like peel or cause problems over time. But I like the cut. Like she looks trendy. She looks fun. Amaya, I really like Amaya just in general. I like Amaya as a character.
Also likes Amaya?
Who?
The designers.
Clearly. Well, but when I say that, by the way, I say I like Amaya as a character in general. Okay. This particular release of Amaya, I think, is going to be polarizing. I think kids might be like, oh my gosh, rainbow. Like, she's sparkly rainbow. But
she looks like she stole Skylar's top.
Yeah. and put it over the Taylor Swift rainbow dress. This isn't anything we haven't seen before, and it's not anything we haven't seen, like, better before. You know, I mean, it looks like her pet was one of my favorites from the cutesy poopsy tooties. The little unicorn one is cute, but and she has what looks like an LV inspired bag, but her shoes it looks like she's wearing the same shoes as Jade. She's wearing like the rainbow reprint shoes. And I think a lot of people are going to be very upset. Well, I know people are upset. I've seen that they are upset that she has replaced Poppy. But like I said, we'll circle back to that. Hold on. So finally, with these dolls specifically, we're going to talk about really quick how we feel about like bringing back like the Poopsie Slime Surprise, Rainbow Surprise Slime gimmick. And the pets.
I mean, I have nephews and nieces who likes slime, so I guess this is more marketed for like younger kids. But as an adult, slime's just a mess. And you know, if you're not storing them correctly, they're gonna dry out. And I'm not sticking slime in a little tiny shoe or a purse or a toy. It just seems really messy.
Yeah, this is definitely designed for a kid to have fun for like a week and then not necessarily revisit it. And I know there are, like, don't get me wrong, I know there's adults who love slime and there's still companies that produce slime. I do have to say the overall trend of slime when it was like a huge popular gimmick thing, like for kids and toys. I feel like we're past that era.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if there's a huge amount of children in present time who still want a lot of like slime toys. And as Sang said, yeah, it's just like slime is very messy, particularly glitter slime. Mm-hmm. So you're going to be leaving a trail of glitter everywhere.
And personally, as if I was a parent, I would not give my 4-year-old slime. Especially if you have carpet or pets.
Yeah.
It's something you have to be supervising.
Yeah, I think the slime looks kind of cute when you place it in the shoes, and then you should probably take it out because, you don't want to just leave it. And I speak as someone who collected num-nums. And slime starts having problems once time passes. It either evaporates or dries up or gets moldy or gets really gross and sticky, and then you forget about it, and it's just, yeah. So it's a very of the moment activity that you just need to like clean up when you're done with it. It's really interesting that like you can put it in the different stuff, and I think Jay mentioned in his review that like when you put it in the purse, it kind of just looks like a random turd like in the purse. And I do agree. It doesn't fill it, so it's like it looks kind of weird. The pets themselves, I have to say, I feel like it seems to me like they're basically reusing the Poopsie Slime Surprise sculpts.
Yeah.
And they're just making hollow, crystalline, like, versions of them. Mm-hmm. So I think unless maybe if you missed out on the Poopsie Cutie Tooties or, the Poopsie Slime era and you want to collect those, this is your opportunity. If you already have those, I personally prefer those figures. I can't say with 100% certainty that these are reprints of those sculpts, but they do look really similar. So this is all stuff we have seen from the previous brand. Personally, if they were going to do something like this, I think it would have been cute to maybe introduce more, I don't know, like fresh, unique sculpts. Like even if even if you were someone who collected Poopsie Slime, like maybe if something new for them, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I am of the opinion, just like any other doll brand, I prefer more clothing than pets.
Yes.
Yes, especially pets that don't have any articulation. They're just little figurines.
Yes. I think it's very, very clear these are targeted specifically at young children.
Yeah.
So I think that Rainbow High is going to be losing some of their adult collector fan base if it keeps going in this direction. Because, this stuff is just not super appealing as an adult collector. Okay, so we're going to talk about the elephant in the room, which I think
the
orange elephant in the room. I think people are so upset about, like, people are losing it over this. So before we got more information about everything, people were already, when we started seeing leaks, everyone was like, where's Poppy? Where's Poppy Rowan? What have you done with Poppy Rowan? So Poppy is not included in any of the new lines. She's not in the Make Slime dolls. She's not in the budget line. She's not shown or referenced in the fashion packs. So we don't know what's going on there. Something that I think we do kind of need to mention, though, is that in the animation clip where Sunny is heading into the portal, I almost am curious how, like, how much they were factoring in of, like, the fandom and where the fandom was at with this, because
there's a survey on which is the least popular color, and orange tends to be the least popular color among surveys.
In terms of rainbow colors in general.
Yeah.
I can see that. I have to say, in terms of like clothing and just colors I like in general, I don't like orange generally. And a lot of people too.
But I love Poppy.
Poppy's beautiful, and the impression I have is the fact that they made her like, her whole motif is like butterflies and all that. I think the impression I had is that Poppy's a really popular character.
Yes.
But so real quick, so in the animation clip where Sunny goes into the portal, it's very interesting the things she says. And I know that, the conspiracy theorists of the interweb are going to want to read into every little thing that she says, but it is very interesting. For one, she says, I don't know if I'm going to be coming back. Like Sang said, there is an interesting, like, ominous aspect to that. Like, where is the brand going? Like, is there what's happening? She mentions Poppy by name. She says, she tells all these different things like, oh, tell Luna. So by the way, she also mentions Luna by name.
Yes.
Which we'll maybe get back to that later. But this whole situation is, there's been speculation that Shadow High specifically could be discontinued or canceled, that like we're not going to get any more Shadow High dolls. So that's very interesting that she specified Luna in the clip. And then she mentions Poppy. And she says, tell Poppy, and then she's cut off. And we don't know what she wants to tell Poppy. So Poppy is mentioned. Also, the Rainbow High social media manager must have had a real fun time recently, because literally within like a day or so of these leaks circulating and like the community really talking about like where's Poppy? What's going on with Poppy? Are you removing her from the characters? The Rainbow High social media posted a picture of Fantastic Fashion Poppy.
Yep.
And that comment section was flooded. I think that was actually the most engagement a Rainbow High photo has like gotten in a bit.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it got like hundreds of comments. It got hundreds and hundreds of comments and thousands of likes. And there were a whole bunch of people who were just freaking out about, you know, where is Poppy? What have you done with her? It's also really funny that the very next day they posted a picture of Amaya.
Yeah.
they
know what they're doing.
So I mean, the social media manager may or may not be informed on everything that people are thinking and worried about here, but it's also kind of insane that this whole situation is causing a mad rush on Poppy's dolls. Specifically, her Fantastic Fashion release is now sold out everywhere and being sold at inflated prices. I don't really know what's going on here. Like Sang said, I don't know if it was because, if it's because orange is a less popular color in general, or just because they wanted some kind of excuse to include Amaya in the main 6 because they want, you know, she's the rainbow girl and kids love rainbows, and, you know, they wanted some sort of excuse to put her in there.
I mean, I think there may be a stronger argument to include Bella instead of Amaya.
Yeah, I feel like that's true, because I feel like Bella has been, well, you know, pink dolls always sell, but yeah, Bella was like a really popular character. I feel like Bella is probably more universally loved than Amaya.
Yes.
Overall as a character, but for the dolls anyway. Yeah, I mean, that is definitely a bummer if we're losing Poppy or if we're seeing fewer Poppy dolls, but then again, you know, maybe she did it for personal and moral reasons. She's like, you know, I need to sit this soft reboot out, you guys. Like, I can't do this. I don't think we have enough information to know for sure if we're like never gonna see Poppy again. They could bring her back. They could, again, with that weird thing that Sunny implied in the animation. Maybe it's built into the plot why she's not here. I don't know. Maybe she'll show up down the line, but yeah, we'll see. So the next batch of new dolls that we're going to talk about is the new budget line, which is called Swim and Style. So of course it's like a swimming bathing suit line. The price is currently believed to be $14.99 each. These dolls have even more reduced articulation. They have like, I guess what would be considered generic budget doll posability. It's pretty much
the 5 points of articulation.
Yes. Yeah. So they can't move at the knees or elbows, which technically this is not the very first time Rainbow High has done this. They've already released like budget dolls of some previous characters like Gabriella and stuff like that. Sang and I have never seen those in person. We have not seen them. I'm not super clear on where they're sold or how you can get them. But these ones, you know, I think continue the theme of everything we've been discussing. Much more young child friendly.
I do like the concept of this kind of wrap that you can change into different fashion pieces.
Yes.
But yeah, everything else screams, this is a budget doll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have to say, once again, I don't, you know, Violet is low-key kind of serving in the soft reboot. She's like, this is my time to shine now that we're seeing ourselves out.
I had years of experience in budget cuts.
So yeah, I mean, I think Violet looks really cute, but yeah, I mean, it removes a lot, I think, of what made Rainbow High. It feels like a lot of like, well, I mean, not completely, but it does feel like there's way less like real world high fashion inspiration and stuff like that. Like, and
value.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I heard someone say that like some of these pieces, and I think Skylar's bathing suit in particular has some sort of specific like high fashion inspiration or something, but these are okay, these are cute, these are not things I would buy. I think in general, if we're talking about a Rainbow High beach line, I think Pacific Coast was most definitely superior, obviously. Sunny's little Hime hairstyle is really cute.
Oh yeah, she definitely has really nice hair. Granted, these are promo images. What she looks like in the wild might look vastly different.
Yes. Yeah, don't really have a whole lot to say about these beyond that. Next, we have the 2024 fashion packs. So what I have to say is really funny about this. Maybe we're a little spoiled by saying this, but Rainbow High fans have been talking about and like requesting the possibility of fashion packs for a really long time. Granted, in the early days of Rainbow High, not like we needed it because every single doll came with multiple outfits and there were so many possibilities. But at a certain point, especially because Rainbow High released so many dolls and so many characters, it's like you kind of just want fashion packs at a certain point as opposed to like constant new dolls. They finally are releasing fashion packs.
It's kind of like the monkey's paw thing where like you wish something and then this is not what you expected.
Yeah. So the fashion packs in total, they're called, from the sound of it, they're called Sleepover, Skate Social, Pep Rally, Pool Day, Ballet Recital, and Dance Party. This is not giving traditional Rainbow High to me, to be brutally honest. It's giving more, you can be anything. Like, this is what I would expect kind of more from like...
Another
brand we shall not speak of. Fashion packs. None of them are thematic to character. None of them are high fashion based. Some of them are cute. I mean, the sleepover pajama one is kind of cute, but
yeah, I mean, some of them are cute. Like I wouldn't mind owning some of these, but I think this is kind of a reduction of what should have been included in like the signature line.
Yeah. Also, the fact that they're just completely
void of personality,
random. Like, I feel like to a certain extent that was kind of part of the appeal of Rainbow High was that they had all these different fashions and styles that were kind of like color-coded thematic. Like, so you could have like, again, like Violet as a violet-colored girl having all these different variations of like really fun violet clothing and faux fur and jewels and accessories and all this stuff, which again, apparently the soft reboot is all about Violet because Violet is like the only character where one of the fashion packs is kind of color coded to her. The rest is a random mishmash. I mean,
I love the ballet one. It's really cute.
The ballet one is pretty cute. Yes, that's like one of the only ones I'd be kind of tempted to have. So apparently they're just rebooting to like, so Violet can have her moment. These are very whatever to me. Something very interesting is that, and so a while back we were under the impression that the next series of Rainbow High blind boxes were going to be fashions, like fashion packs instead of like the accessories. What's really interesting is that for these, there's only one thus far that we've found Amazon listing for them. And there's a loose implication that particular purchase may be like a blind pull. Like the listing literally says, what will you get? Like, will you get like the sleepover or skate social or da-da? So I was like, I don't know. I'm going to venture a guess that maybe that won't be the case in stores, because looking at the image of the packaging, it looks like you see what you're getting.
Yeah.
But that's just a weird little note to add for the Amazon listing. So the last thing we're going to talk about in terms of new dolls are the new juniors. They're called the Pajama Party Rainbow High Junior dolls. So they do have the junior sculpts, and unfortunately the juniors are not exempt from the updated articulation. They also cannot move their wrists.
I'm assuming same thing with like the thigh joint as well.
Yeah. So this is going to be slumber party themed, and the line includes Violet, Sunny, Bella, and Skylar. We don't really have a whole lot of information on these yet. Apparently, like, the Amazon listings are up, but we don't have very many pictures.
Yeah. But yeah, this is the thing. You know, I think juniors haven't really been selling, so I'm really surprised they are back. These are, once again, are inferior to the other slumber party line. But, you know, this collection looks like there's a lot of little knickknacks that can create kind of like a story. But
yeah, I mean, a lot of like food and like appliance accessories and stuff that we haven't really gotten much of that at all from Rainbow High historically. So I guess if you really want a Rainbow High, you know, popcorn and soda accessory, I mean, personally, I would prefer Miniverse.
Yeah.
If you're going to go that route, but these are whatever. I would not buy them personally. Sunny is cute though, but you know, Sunny is pretty much always cute.
Yeah.
So that, you know, honestly, something I feel like we always have to say, and of course we've had many variations of this conversation many times over the years, we as adults are not the target demo for dolls and toys, generally speaking. Like, of course, we're totally aware of that. But we are living in a world where many forms of entertainment that have children as the target demographic, including dolls, toys, video games, like everything, have very significant over 18, you know, fans and collectors and customers.
And, you know, as adults, we have more income, so we can buy more products than, say, a parent trying to buy one item for their kids.
Yeah.
So you have to factor that in too. And, you know, I think a lot of times kids watch a lot of content that adults make. And that also factors into their wants and what their parents are going to buy them.
Yeah, I think something that the toy industry and particularly the doll industry has kind of had to kind of struggle and reconcile with over the years is that, technically speaking, for every single doll purchase, you need to appeal to an adult in different ways. Basically, you need to appeal to the adults who are purely buying the product for their child versus appealing to an adult collector who is buying it for themselves. And of course, those two parties have very different needs and priorities. A parent wants something that's a good value, that's affordable, not outrageously expensive, something that is appropriate for their child, something that their child would, you know, play with and really love and enjoy. I'm sure parents, and, you know, of course, they might notice too, like, oh, this doll is really pretty, this doll is really detailed. Adult collectors, for the, you know, generally speaking, they, you know, we would prefer not to spend too much money, but I think adult collectors, of course, are way likelier to value strong designs, you know, strong, you know, quality, detail, things like that. And something that I think is going to make this really challenging is I think it's very clear that Rainbow High, really, since its conception, I feel like it was clear to me they were designed with adult collectors in mind.
Yeah.
I don't think the average child, even when these first came out in Series 1, like, children are not going to be like, that's a Chanel reference. Yeah. That's a Louis Vuitton reference. Like that, oh, I'm going to really, like, you know, do this or that with these super... And some of them had, like, really teeny tiny pieces with, like lipsticks and mascaras you can open. And like
little, like, belt loops and stuff like that.
Belt loops and,
like, things that fall off easily.
Yeah.
And you know, and from the beginning, MJ and Rainbow High was very responsive in terms of like articulation when collectors complained that, oh, their heads don't tilt as much as the promo images do. They made that change, and there were even like, I think even like the knee articulation bent more now, like from the first wave.
Yeah. Which was incredible. I mean, I have to give them their flowers for that, because I mean, what other brand ever listens to the audience that directly?
Yeah.
And so
they made a lot of changes that, you know, obviously like a lot of adults were voicing their concerns with, like, oh yeah, we want this and that. I think their faces are too shiny.
We need diversity. We need more diversity. We need, and I mean, some of these things, it feels like they're going backwards in almost all of those categories. Unfortunately, though, this is a harsh reality that we have seen many doll brands face, ranging from Monster High to Ever After High, even like Hairdorables to a certain extent, where basically a doll brand does the best it can, runs its course. Really, technically speaking, if a doll brand that is newly introduced, like really nowadays, if it lasts more than like a year, that's a successful doll brand right there. Like, that's a brand that has made a mark and it resonates with an audience. And, you know, at this point, obviously, Rainbow High debuted in 2020. So we're coming up on, they've been around for like 3 years or so. Some people are probably going to say, it's too early to reboot or anything like that. But
we have a friend who's kind of more knowledgeable about like, he's more experienced in like the toy industry, and he was telling us how a lot of these companies have like a 3-year plan for their doll lines. So when the dolls are being, you know, conceptualized or being pitched, they have a 3-year plan, and after the 3-year point is when they have to kind of do a refresh or extend their plan. So I think we are at that point in Rainbow High's initial plan where they are trying to reboot or make some changes. You know, there was great value early on. I'm sure they were losing some money or breaking even. And
I mean, what we kept saying is, I was like, there was a part of me that was like, I almost don't know how Series 1 of Rainbow High could have not been sold at a loss. Essentially, I mean, there was so much quality and value and detail for like $27 that, which was just insane by today's standards in particular. Again, this is also just, we've seen this happen I mean, it is really interesting. We've seen this approach fail so many times before. Like, I understand like why brands, you know, feel like they need to do it, because they want to almost like put the brand on life support, kind of like keep it alive, which I mean, we kind of saw that happen with like Hairdorables. Like Hairdorables is kind of living on as purely kind of like a budget line, like in Walmarts and stuff like that, and it's very different from what it once was. And obviously we've seen Monster High, you know, end and reboot more than once. There's so much of this, unfortunately, that is out of a lot of people, including some of, you know, potentially the designers and creator of Rainbow High's hands, when it comes to, you know, needing to keep profit margins high in a fickle capitalist market. And, you know, inflation has been skyrocketing, and I don't know how much of a market there is right this very second for expensive, or, you know, over $30 playline dolls on retail shelves. So
I mean, I gotta hand it to them. They were able to keep a lot of things under $30 for so long.
They did, and I think MGA did a lot right. They really did. Like, even when Shadow High Series 2 came out, they made, I think, was a really fair compromise. They're like, okay, we got to take some stuff away from you guys. There's only one outfit, but we're still going to give you banging designs, and we're going to reduce the price. Yeah. We're like, okay, cool. Like, I'm down with that. We mentioned that. I mentioned that in the review. It's of Shadow High Series 2. I don't know if there's going to be any Shadow High in our future. That's like the other thing is
their social media has been dead since June.
And even when they do post Shadow High dolls, it's now only the Rainbow High page that posts it. Sang and I have talked a lot about how, like, even though the adult community lost its mind over Shadow High when it first came out, and I thought they were so cool, like the grayscale concept and everything, it was amazing. But I am very curious if it didn't appeal to kids in the way it appealed to adults. So maybe there's sales numbers and like issues that we as adult collectors just haven't really been privy to. I'm going to be very curious to see what this is going to look like if this is really going to keep the brand alive, if we're going to keep seeing it well into 2024 or 2025, if it makes it till then. Unfortunately, my gut feeling is that the writing's on the wall, that like what we once knew of Rainbow High to be is kind of slowly seeing itself out, which is very sad. It's a huge bummer. I can't say that for sure. I can't predict the future. Because MGA has historically been so good at like listening to its audience, and, you know, I would say way more so than a lot of other companies. Maybe, you know, they might swerve away from this if it doesn't do well, if it doesn't sell well or whatever. But I don't know. You know, we're definitely heading into a very different era. So that has been our discussion on Rainbow World / the Rainbow High soft reboot. I don't really know what Sang and I's collecting / purchase of these are going to be into the future. We'll have to see. But we're very curious what you guys think of these. What do you think the pros and the cons are? Obviously, there's a lot of moving parts to this conversation, and things will evolve and change. More new information is coming in. Of course, some of the things we talked about are purely based on promo pictures and leaks. But yeah, definitely let us know what you guys are feeling about all this in the comments. You know, this is a safe space to have discussions. You know, if we need to have a eulogy for Poppy Rowan or, you know, anything else, we are here for you. So yeah, definitely let us know.
Yeah, and if you would like us to continue talking about Rainbow High in these videos, you know, give us a like and comment your thoughts. Like Max said, we're not quite sure what our collecting habits will be with Rainbow High in the future, but we love talking about Rainbow High. We have a soft spot for this brand. We were there from the beginning. So we only want what's best for the brand.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for joining us for this podcast. Let us know what you'd like us to discuss in our next episode, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.